For USCFootball.com, I'm Keely Eure here with Dan Weber. Instant analysis of the Wednesday practice leading up to Cal Week. First off, injury updates. Porter Gustin, Stephen Mitchell, Ronald Jones, and who else? Janae Harris did not practice today, but some of them are resting. Some of them we don't think will be ready for Saturday.
Yeah, I mean, Rojo came out not in pads, then he went back into rehab with Daniel Maltrababy. Stephen was out here, no pads, not doing anything with the groin. Jenny clearly worked a lot inside. He'd done a lot of cardio. He was sweating like crazy, but he had a big ice pack on his left knee. So, I'm trying to think. Rasheem Green, he was out here for the whole practice, not in pads, but he didn't do anything. He did a little bit of working on some pass moves with Chenna, and they were kind of using their hands and all of that, and he doesn't look like he's limping that much, and he certainly doesn't look like he's got a lot of swelling in that ankle. He's a coin flip, I would think, this week. Rasheem is, but I'm not real optimistic about the other guys, and I'm not real optimistic about Porter in the near future. It just doesn't look like the kind of thing you're going to see him back. And if they get him back for let's say Utah, Notre Dame, I think they'd be real happy.
Mm-hmm. But on the positive side for the injuries, we did see Uchenna Nwosu. Hilton said he had a significant practice today. He got significant work in after not practicing that much yesterday. And also John Houston got teamwork too.
Yeah, and he got a decent amount yesterday. So, there are some pluses there. I think the big plus is Michael Pittman probably going to be starting and, stayed off that ankle long enough to be able to come back and really contribute, I think, right away. And we're probably also going to see Tyler Vaughns as a starter. So two of the wide receivers are going to be new. And Stephen Mitchell out with an injury. Jalen Green looks like he's no longer with the first group. So it's going to have a different look on both sides of the ball for USC this weekend.
Yeah, exactly. We're also seeing Keely Ross at nickel for Janae. And like you said, there have been changes at the wide receiver position. How much do you think they actually go with it? Because sometimes we see things in practice, and then come game day, they kind of change it around a little bit.
They're going with it. They're going with it. I mean, Clay, we kid about our own Ryan Abraham has been pushing that Tyler Vaughns bandwagon. Well, Clay is also on the Tyler Vaughns bandwagon the last few days. So I think there's no question. They saw something. He's talked a number of times about he made 4 catches. He almost made the great touchdown catch in overtime. Clay's on the bandwagon for the new guy. And Michael Pittman would have been out there had it not been for the high ankle sprain right before the season. So it's not a big shakeup, but gives him a more physical possession receiver with Michael Pittman, and I think they've needed that.
Mm-hmm. We heard crowd noise pumped in, which is interesting because they're going up to Cal, and usually Cal isn't that much of a rowdy bunch.
No, I mean, the fans that make the most noise often at Cal are the USC fans, and very often you got 10,000 there for the weekender and that kind of thing. So that's the Bears are unbeaten, 3-0. They've beaten North Carolina on the road. They've beaten Ole Miss at home. They, like USC, the stat is there are only 6 teams in the country have beaten that are 3-0 have beaten 2 Power 5 teams. USC did it, beating Stanford and Texas, and Cal has done it also. So that's kind of an accomplishment for Justin Wilcox, because a lot of people didn't think Cal would win more than 3 games the whole year, and they've already won their first 3. So that's a heck of a start for them.
Mm-hmm. We got to talk to the defense today, specifically the DBs. We didn't get to talk to Iman Marshall because he came on a practice late, actually, while we're filming this. But we get to talk to Jack Jones. He thought he played a good game against Texas. He said better than Stanford, but some people are getting a little flack on the DBs, including this one over here. Some people are clamoring for Jamel Cook. What do you think about that whole DB situation?
You would like to see more pressure from below on the starters, I think. And today, Clancy talked about where he saw guys coming up are Isaiah Langley and Greg Johnson, the freshman. So I think Jamel got to kind of find himself, and he's kind of somewhere where he maybe isn't, with the program right now. He's just, out there somewhere. But Clancy said those two are going to play more. And here's the game, where you really got to get some good play out of these guys because, Cal lines up 4 wide receivers, and amazingly, Clancy said they used more of the field this year than they did last year when they had that really good quarterback and, a pretty darn good passing attack and a head coach who was, pretty much pass crazy. And so this could be a challenge for the DBs.
Yeah. Any other final thoughts from this week of practice? Because this will be the last time we see the Trojans before Saturday.
It's kind of quiet. It's been a quiet, I think, the last couple of weeks where the opener is always a big deal, and then you get Stanford and Texas back-to-back. This week, kind of a quiet sort of a week. It's the first week on the road. Hopefully, it's the week for USC where you get ready to play on Saturday, where you're not getting ready necessarily, physically and emotionally and all that. You're not getting ready now, but you're going to be ready to be there on Saturday, early Saturday, 12:30 kickoff. But I think it's that kind of a week. It's just kind of, okay, we got through that. Some things we got to clean up, some things we got to work on. We know it. We know, we showed a lot of poise. We also got some breaks. We've got to clean that up, but we got to get on track on the road 2 straight weeks, and it's kind of a look ahead week. Like they're just looking at Saturday more. It's not grabbing them like maybe a big home game like the Texas game would.
I think people hearing what you just said will probably be scared that in that sense it might be a trap game, but I don't think it will be in that sense. But do you think how important is it going to be for the Trojans to get up early in the game, kind of rest the starters who've kind of been going hard in these last couple physical games, and looking ahead to rest up for a tough 6-week turnaround to Wazoo? Well,
I think the other thing is you're kind of going to be resting some of your starters because they're injured. So you might. The other flip side of that is you're going to give a chance to play to guys who haven't maybe gotten a lot of chance to play. So they maybe, get a good chance to play a lot this week. I think what you have to take away from the Texas game is all those missed opportunities at the start. All the times you could have scored 3 times and taken Texas out of the game. You didn't score the first 3 times you had the ball, and you basically said to Texas, hey, you got a chance, and Texas started believing they had a chance. You don't want to do that here this week, and you don't want to do that next week. You want to take those people out. And when you get a chance to score, you've got to get the ball in. And I think they were, they've been so effective in the red zone. Was it one of those kind of let's take it for granted we can get, and they couldn't, and they didn't. And each time they stopped themselves or Texas stopped them, Texas started really believing that what Coach Herman's telling us is true. We're going to beat these guys. And they got into the game, played in a way that nobody had seen them play all year. You can't do that, especially on the road. You got to take them out early. Got to make them say, we'll come back next week. These guys are too good. You got to do that. We'll see.
All right. That's going to wrap it up for Wednesday practice leading up to the Cal game. For Dan Weber, I'm Keely Eure. For more, check out uscfootball.com.